A reading from the first book of Samuel. Now the Philistines gathered their armies for battle, and there came out from the camp of the Philistines a champion named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a helmet of bronze on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. The weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. He had greaves of bronze on his legs and a javelin of bronze slung between his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron. And his shield-bearer went before him. He stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why have you come out to draw up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves, and let him come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall be our servants and serve us." And the Philistine said, "Today I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man that we may fight together." When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. David rose early in the morning, left the sheep with a keeper, took the provisions, and went as Jesse had commanded him. He came to the encampment as the army was going forth to the battle line, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines drew up for battle, army against army. David left the things in charge of the keeper of the baggage, ran to the ranks, and went and greeted his brothers. As he talked with them, the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, came up out of the ranks of the Philistines and spoke the same words as before, and David heard him. David said to Saul, "Let no one's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine." Saul said to David, You are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are just a boy, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant used to keep sheep for his father, and whenever a lion or bear came and took a lamb from the flock, I went after it and struck it down, rescuing the lamb from its mouth. And if it turned against me, I would catch it by the jaw, strike it down, and kill it. Your servant has killed both lions and bears. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, since he has defied the armies of the living God." David said, "The Lord, who has saved me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, will save me from the hand of this Philistine." So Saul said to David, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." Saul clothed David with his armor. He put a bronze helmet on his head and clothed him with a coat of mail. David strapped Saul's sword over the armor, and he tried in vain to walk, for he was not used to them. Then David said to Saul, "I cannot walk with these, for I am not used to them." So David removed them. Then he took his staff in his hand and chose 5 smooth stones from the wadi and put them in a shepherd's bag in the pouch. His sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. The Philistine came on and drew near to David, with the shield-bearer in front of him. When the Philistine looked and saw David, he disdained him, for he was only a youth, ruddy and handsome in appearance. The Philistine said to David, "Am I a dog that you come to me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. The Philistine said to David, "Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and to the wild animals of the field." But David said to the Philistine, "You come to me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This very day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. And I will give the dead bodies of the Philistine army this very day to the birds of the air and to the wild animals of the earth, so that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that all this assembly may know that there is a God in Israel, and that all this assembly may know that the Lord does not save by sword and spear. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hand." When the Philistine drew nearer to meet David, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet the Philistine. David put his hand in his bag, took out a stone, slung it, and struck the Philistine on his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. The word of the Lord.
The Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to Mark. On that day, when evening had come, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd behind, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. Other boats were with him. A great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that the boat was already being swamped. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. And they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." Then the wind ceased, and there was a dead calm. He said to them, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" The Gospel of our Lord.
Today, as we close out our program here, we celebrate the accomplishments of our youth, particularly our graduating high school seniors. It's a bit of a bittersweet Sunday for me because this is the first graduation class we've had that I also presented for confirmation. So there's a sense where I feel like we've grown up at St. Peter's together. So perhaps I'm graduating with you as well. But it is a custom of our graduating seniors to select some among their number to speak to us during the time of the sermon. So the last three left standing forward when everybody else stepped back were Brian Beecher, Corinne Wisniewski, and Sarah Meyer. And at 8 o'clock, I thought I knew what the order of speaking was, and it all changed on me, so who's going first? Brian. I'm awake now. 2 coffees already.
Good morning. And thank you all for being here today. For those who don't know me, my name is Brian Beeker, and I joined St. Peter's back in 2013. Ever since I joined the church, I have been forever grateful for what the church has done for me and for all the other graduates here today. Through the youth group here at St. Peter's, I have made many lasting memories as well as learned more about my own religion and how to be thankful for the life I have been given. As a young kid, I wasn't really as grateful as I am right now. That's because at 3 months old, I was adopted from Russia. Growing up, I knew I was adopted, but I did not know the many issues I went through when I was brought back from Russia to the United States. In Russia, I had no hot water, I was extremely malnourished, and I was very sick. But being brought to the United States and being nurtured back to health is a blessing that I'm thankful for every day. I know I didn't end up here on accident. I feel that the work of God or some higher power has helped me along the way, and in many other ways, even when I may not have known it. As I attended Sunday school here at St. Peter's, I was able to meet my amazing confirmation mentor, Dallas Stokes. Every time we met, we talked about how religion impacted me and how it affected my life. You know, do a good turn daily and all that fun stuff. After confirmation, I got more involved in a youth group and even went to the Adopt a Family trip, where we not only went to Chili's, but also Walmart, where we shopped for children less fortunate than us, and were able to give them nice gifts for the holiday season and give back to the community what they have given to us. One trip that was also memorable was a trip to New York City, where we went to St. John the Divine in the freezing cold, but we got hot chocolate from Starbucks, so it was kind of worth it. At St. John's, we went to their Blessing of the Pets, where some of the animals were not limited to only cats and dogs, but there was also a camel, a donkey, and a giant tortoise that almost strutted down the aisle of the church to be blessed. One thing I have to mention that I will miss a lot is Mr. Wyrick always telling Corinne to keep an eye on me every church event we went to. After being in a youth group for 4 years, I learned about a group called Mosaic, where, once I joined, I was able to learn an astounding amount of information about different religions and even go to many of the different places of worship and eat the cultural foods from the religion. After I leave here today, I will be getting ready to go off to the college of my dreams, Cabrini University, where I got a good amount of money for academics and a nice scholarship for my swimming career. And one day, put that knowledge where I plan on studying political science and continue my academic career. And one day, hope to put that knowledge to good use. I'm sad to leave New Jersey, but my mom is probably happy, as she doesn't have to feed me, because I usually eat almost everything in the refrigerator. I'm also sad to leave the place that showed me everlasting love, because back in 2017, my father passed away. The week after Father Dirk heard the news, he basically ran over to help and give us guidance, and every day, I pray that he is in a better place. Thank you, Father Dirk and Deacon Catherine, for the everlasting love you have shown me and my mother, and thank you for always being by my side in whatever crazy thing I may do or whatever trouble I may get into. And I also, so to wrap up, I just want to say a big thank you to Father Dirk and Deacon Catherine for helping out not only me, but everyone here today. Thank you for all the support you have given to me and the youth group throughout the many years.
Good morning. As many of you may already know, my name is Corinne Wisniewski. I have been a member of St. Peter's for about the last 5 years. I have been one of the 2 presidents of our youth group for the past 2 years. I graduated from Allentown High School alongside Sarah Wyrick this past Wednesday, and I plan on attending Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken this coming fall, studying cybersecurity. So lots of stuff is going on for me. When we moved here from California about 5 years ago, my mom, my 2 sisters, and my stepfather, Steve, we were a little bit lost. We were in a brand new place where we didn't really know anybody, and we were desperate to make some kind of connection to anything that would make us feel at home and welcome in our new state. Because of this, my mom made it her goal to search for a new church home. The first time we came to St. Peter's, it was during the summer when not a lot of our fun stuff that we do now was happening. And we didn't know if it was a place for us, so we decided to keep searching. We visited other parishes to see if we could find a better fit somewhere else, but we decided to try St. Peter's again. When we came back, we were greeted by many smiling faces and people willing to welcome us into their community. We quickly signed up for pretty much everything. Myself for the confirmation class, my sisters for the other portions of the youth group, my parents, Lucinda and Steve, for Peter's Rock, the whole family for coffee hour help, and then acolyting, ushering, etc. We met all sorts of new friends that at the time we had no idea would become part of our new extended family through God. Because of our shared faith, we were able to meet people we otherwise would not have, including Tina Crafton, the confirmation mentor for all 3 of my sisters and I, and Anna Hitchko, whose energy never fails to help me wake up in the morning. My church family helped me learn to pray during difficult moments in my life, and they helped me to make sense of God's work in the world when I felt confused, hopeless, or alone. Thanks to the connections made by our family through our faith, when I began school in Hoboken in the fall after my family moves to Oregon to go follow the jobs of my parents, Lucinda and Steve, I know I will still have the caring community of St. Peter's right here for me in Freehold whenever I need it, and I know I will never truly be alone. I am so grateful for everything I have learned and how this church has helped me grow with God's love. And because of the support, I know I am ready to handle anything that I might face in college and in the rest of my life. Thank you to the clergy, my mentors, and the whole church community of St. Peter's for everything you have done for me. Your lessons and love will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Wyrick, and I just graduated from Allentown High School and will be continuing my academic career at the University of South Carolina in the Capstone Scholar Program in the fall. I want to start by congratulating my fellow graduates and saying how grateful I am to have gone through this journey with all of you. I would also like to thank my parents for bringing me to St. Peter's. Definitely a great choice. It's truly surreal to be standing here before you today as I'm about to embark on the next chapter in my life, college. My journey here started at St. Peter's 18 years ago tomorrow when I was baptized by Father Frank. I've spent my entire life at this church, and I've grown and matured and created a family here. In just the short time I've been here, I've seen people come and go, form lifelong relationships, and learn valuable lessons and created so many wonderful memories. This is the place where I learned about Christmas and went from crawling up the aisle as a little sheep in the Epiphany pageant to holding my arms outstretched as the angel Gabriel. This is the place where I learned about music and wiggle and worship with Mr. Hitchko in the choir and Miss Jackie in the bells, 2 of my absolute favorite things to have been a part of here at St. Peter's. This is the place where I learned about my faith from dedicated church school teachers and mentors, which led me on my journey to confirmation. St. Peter's is the place where I've made lasting friendships, hanging out at coffee hour, bonding at outreach events, and spending time outside of church. They're not just my church friends, but my real friends, and I can't wait to see what each of us do in the years to come. This is the place that offered me the opportunity to be educated on other faiths in the world through programs like Mosaic. And finally, St. Peter's is the place that has taught me to go out and do good. All of the knowledge and experience I've gained from acolyting, leading projects like Adopt a Family, and helping in the summer fun day school program, to name a few, has shaped me into the person I am today and will continue to have a lasting effect on me as I venture out into the world a little more. Deacon Catherine, thank you so much for always supporting me and all of the youth group events. You are always there to calmly guide us through times of confusion, whether in faith or simply setting the table at the altar. You will always hold a special place in my heart. Father Dirk, you've been a wonderful addition to the St. Peter's family, and I have thoroughly enjoyed every second of the last 4 years together. Your positivity and enthusiasm has impacted me in more ways than you could imagine. I hold so many dear memories of the past 18 years with each and every one of you here at St. Peter's, and I would like to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for being part of my journey so far. Thank you.
Today's lessons were not chosen for Baccalaureate Sunday. They just happened to fall that way. But I think they are the perfect lessons for today. In the gospel, Jesus calms the storm that is frightening his disciples. And they discover that being in the presence of Christ in that boat can still the deepest storms around them. And our takeaway from that is to always keep Christ at the center of everything that we do. Because that will guide us through the many challenges and turmoils of this world. The world wants to throw any challenge at us it can. Those challenges help us to grow and become stronger. They're also frightening. But know that you are not alone, ever. Because Christ takes that journey with you. And it was that confidence in God that propelled David into the heart of battle to slay the giant that was threatening the future of his people. Goliath stands in for many giants of challenges that we face in this world today. And David was not a mighty king. He was barely a teenager, a shepherd in the field, the eighth of 8 brothers, so insignificant that his own father forgot to have an 8th son. When Samuel came by to ask, "Where are all your sons?" his father said, "Well, here's 7 of them." And Samuel said, "No, God is telling you of them. You sure you don't have any more?" And Jesse said, "Oh, yeah, there's David in the field. But he's so small and insignificant." That was the person who God called. And David went into battle, aware of who he was as a child of God. The world tried to thrust all kinds of armor on him to be who the world wanted him to be. And instead, he did not have to be who God created. And that's what gave him the strength to slay that giant.
believe. Somewhere in the quietness, when I'm overcome with loneliness, I hear you call my name. Like a father, you are near, and as I listen, I can hear you say, you are a child of mine, born of my own design. You bear the heart of mine. No matter where you go, oh, you will always know you've been made free in Christ. You are a child of Listen as you tell me who I am and who it is I'm gonna be. Hang on every word, knowing I have heard I am yours and I am free. When I am alone at night, that is when I hear the lie, you'll never be enough. Oh, if it ain't to fear, if I listen, I can hear you say, you are a child of mine, born of my own design. You bear the heart of mine. No matter where you go, oh, you will always know you've been made free in Christ. You are a child. I am calling, I am calling, I am calling. I am calling, I am calling. You are a child.